Hey Plant Pals, Mike the Cat Gardener, and today's video is on my ongoing battle inside with the aphids that I brought inside on a pepper plant. Again, I hosed the pepper plant off, I cleaned off everything off the roots, so there was just plain roots, and I put soap on it, and I hosed it off, cleaned it off, I put peroxide on it, hydrogen peroxide that's supposed to kill anything on it, and brought the plant inside, and I got aphids anyway, so I'm pretty sure they came on the pepper plant. I mean, maybe they just wanted to happen to fly inside and take up residence. But as you can see here, it's not really showing up on camera, but everything's got a white fine dusting of powder because I put diatomaceous earth. I think you can see it better here. I put diatomaceous earth, which is a natural. It's made from a fossilized shell, and it's very sharp to the bugs' bodies. And it, dispatches them. They don't like it, and it's maybe not the kindest way to get rid of them, but I don't want these things in my house. But because I had to battle with these things, they made my plants super leggy. This thing should already have tomatoes growing on it. I should be harvesting, well, not harvesting, but they should be green and at least dime sized. And of course they're not, because as you can see, everything down here died and everything up here is kind of struggling. And then every time I get new life, the aphids come after it. So I put the diatomaceous earth, which is that white powder you see everywhere on everything. I'm not seeing any aphids, but doesn't mean they're not there. But a solution to this problem is because everything's kind of falling over. This was never meant. I didn't design the system to be this tall. This is like 3 feet. This is a 3 foot skewer, and it's already almost up to the top. Well, it's kind of falling down. It was up to the top, and then the weight of the plant started pulling it down. But I do want to have some tomatoes inside. So what do I do about it? I could just clean the system out and completely start from fresh, which would, take about 3 months or so. Or I can make sure that if the aphids are gone, as you can see, there are little buds and stuff here where the tomatoes would come from if they weren't fighting. I will take a cutting off this plant, whatever I think is the healthiest. Oops, finger out of the way. Whatever the healthiest portion of the plant is, I'm going to cut it down like here, so it's like maybe 5-6 inches tall, and I'm going to put it back into this unit tub with a clone collar. And so what I'm going to do is and I'll show it, I'm going to take the cutting, strip all the lower leaves off of the cutting, put it in the clone collar, put it into the net cup, and see if it takes root. Then I will have a tomato plant that is the same age as this, because it's the same plant. It's just a cutting. And so hopefully it'll, because it's not as leggy and trying to feed leaves that are dying and stuff, that it will bounce right back and in a shorter plant start producing me tomatoes. It's a lot of work. It might be easier just to start over, but it's not, I'm inside. There's nothing else going on, so I might as well go for it. I don't need these tomatoes. I'm not, surviving off of them. Which would be the goal, which would be nice, and I do love them and enjoy them. But as you can see, all the diatomaceous earth, and you can see how the things have just ravaged the leaves on this plant and made a big mess. Because anytime you get things dying, it makes a big mess. So I'm going to clean that up. And for some weird reason, they do not like this Fresno chili pepper. I put the diatomaceous earth on the leaves just in case. Once I kill them on one thing, they'll jump to something else just to survive, even if they don't like it. But I'm going to, again, check this over. But this plant, you can see this tomato's completely falling over on top of it. I'm going to check this plant and make sure that nothing's on it. But look at this thing. This thing is just going crazy. It's happy, which is great. The tomatoes over here, not so much. Like you can see, everything's just falling. It should be straight up, and they're completely falling over. you know, it's not a heavy plant. Yeah, it's making a big mess. Everything. So I'm gonna I'm gonna stop recording and get to it because it's pulling out of the tub here. The weight of the plant. I could tape it down with some tape, but again, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just gonna get some cuttings, see if there are any bugs on the cuttings, make sure there's not, and start over with it. I mean, technically, like with this one, I could just cut back to here, and I think I might on this plant, or this plant's kind of small. I might just kind of cut back a lot of this stuff that's brown, and like I said, double check to make sure there's nothing on the plant, because this is a small enough plant with new growth that it should be okay. So I'll leave that alone. And then down below here, behind the light, you can see I really put diatomaceous earth all over this thing. And they really attacked everything. They were killing everything down here. So I'm going to go through here, clean everything that's dead out. I'm going to drastically trim this back too. And over here, I got room for, I had peppers growing in here that got killed off, but I'm going to maybe take some more cuttings and, you know, just so this will be the tomato area. And so if I do have a problem, because they seem to love the tomatoes, they don't like my peppers, so, which is great, because I love my peppers, and I'm glad they're leaving them alone. But I'll keep this as the kind of the trap area, and keep putting the diatomaceous earth on everything, you know, and pepper and oils and stuff like that to keep them, you know, away from my other areas and keep them here. So anyway, I'll do that, and I'll clean everything up, and I'll be back and I'll show you the results. And the reason why I'm doing this and showing this is because this is what happens. This is real life. I could show you all the beautiful, perfect things, but that wouldn't be real. And it wouldn't help anybody, because they would have a problem and they'd give up. They'd be angry because they're having issues that I'm pretending that I don't when I do. And people, you know, should enjoy gardening. They should love and learn, and I'm going to show you how I fix the problems I have. That's why I showed my dead system. You know, when the system died, I didn't go out and buy a new system and pretend nothing happened. I showed you that I tried to fix it. It worked for a while. I kind of got tired of the system and put a new system in its place. But I told you all that and showed all that. So hopefully that's more helpful to people. All right, I will be back. I did want to show, see, I also have the diatomaceous earth all over this thing, but I did want to show that this is how it's supposed to already be looking right now. This is the same exact plant that wasn't bothered, because see, I have a fan right here, and it's got diatomaceous earth powder all over everything, but because the fan was blowing and they didn't like it, they moved on to other plants across the room, and so they kind of left this one alone. They did attack the one that was behind. That one's gone. I took that one out, but because it wasn't being blocked by this one, and so it wasn't getting that air, and so they left this one alone. So you can see this already has tomatoes. That's how the other ones should be looking, and they should be pretty much similar in height, except for they've got a bigger growing area, so they would be bushier and have a lot more tomatoes. But sadly, they don't. So that's the issue I'm trying to correct. All right, I will be back. Okay, I'm back. I have cut down all of the old and put cuttings from it into their cone collars. That's going down into the solution with the bubbles. You can see the stem is going down into the solution. Knock over my buddy here. Back up there. He should have did a better job guarding. See? Feels bad about himself. He let the aphids in. So yeah, so there's, you can see the diatomaceous earth powder all over everything. Hopefully that takes care of them. This one I left. And I cut it way back, and we'll see how it does, see if it produces. Same thing with this one. I might cut this one kind of long branch off. I'm going to force it to start producing. And I've got my cuttings here. And then down below, same thing. Saw how that plant was up to the touching the light. I cut everything back, and remember, it was just one little branch like that grew all of this in like 2 months, so I don't feel so bad because it can always come back. This is one I left. We'll see how that does. So we'll see. It's kind of an experiment. I cleaned everything up, blew more diatomaceous earth all over everything, and hopefully that takes care of the problem. If not, I will just nuke everything, completely remove everything from this area, and scrub it down with like a fungicidal, not fungicidal, but insecticidal soap and some blow more diatomaceous earth and alcohol or whatever I have to do so I don't have any aphids in my house, because I don't want aphids in my house. Even though, like I said, I've only seen a couple. When you see a couple, there's more, and I don't want that. And plus, I don't want to attract ants into my house. Well, I don't have to worry about that now because it's wintertime. There's no ants outside, going to be able to come inside from outside, but still, it's not a habit I want to have of having pests inside my house. So I can take these lights and I can kind of, bend them in the way I want to get them back, focusing back on the plants. And we shall see what happens with this experiment. Wish me luck. All right. Again, I could have been sad about it, pouted, but, I took action. And we shall see. All right. And then, speaking of letting things, see, gardening keeps you humble. While I was bragging about how great this thing was doing, which it is, I was busy looking at the flowers and stuff. I happened to look down, and there was no plant food solution. There was bone dry, so I had to hurry up and feed this poor baby. See, you get busy looking this way, and something happens over this way. Oh, yeah. Okay, one more day. See, it's almost all red. And let me see this one. That one. You see the other side. Sometimes it'll not be green all the way. No, that one's good to go, so I can harvest that one. Cool. All right, so I got a treat. I got rewarded for my hard work. All right. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.